Hi everyone. I'm just making a quick video here to show everyone how to set up a turning movement count and how to do a turning movement count on our new traffic counting program we'll be using. Eventually, once we start using this full time, I will make a more detailed guide of how the entire app works. But I just wanted to show you quickly how to do a turning movement count so you can get some practice and give us feedback to make improvements moving forward. So first off, I'll send you a link. You'll open this link in the Safari browser on your iPad, and then it will send you to this page here, the Access portal. You can create an account by clicking here or signing up with Google or Microsoft. You can just use your email, and it's a quick and easy sign up. Once you have your account made, you can select Launch Workbook. It'll give you these two options here. Click Collector Hub, and it'll send you this main page here. Quickly, you can toggle to light mode if you'd rather use light mode. You can do full screen there if you'd like to use full screen. Light mode, dark mode. I'll use light mode for this setup, but typically I use dark mode. It's just an aesthetic thing. It's whatever you want. So the manual I will quickly go over. Sorry, the iPad guide I'll quickly go over first. First off, please make this website a bookmark on the home screen of Safari. Please, once you're in the app, hide the toolbar. You can do this by selecting the AA icon and select hide toolbar. I'm using Google Chrome on a PC for this video, so it'll look a little different, but it'll be quite easy to set up. Uh, Next, make sure on your iPad that the silent switch is turned off if that's on your model of the iPad you're using. And if it doesn't have a silent switch, just make sure the media volume is turned up, and you can tap anywhere on the screen once to prime the audio, meaning it'll work. And lastly is please put the orientation lock on so your screen doesn't rotate on the iPad. You can do that by swiping down in the top right corner and clicking on that orientation lock there. And then got it, thanks. Next will be new study. You can click new study there, and it looks kind of similar to, or it's the same sort of setup that we use on the Jammer board. But the first thing will be turning movement count as the project type. There's two options. There's turning movement count and mid-block cross section. Turning movement count will be in this video. Next is the TMC layout style. There's two options here. One is directed crosswalks and the other is standard. I'll show you what directed crosswalks means. We'll likely be getting rid of the standard option, only using directed crosswalks moving forward. So this will show this will show the direction of the users using the crosswalk, primarily pedestrians, but sometimes bicycles and micromobility as well. You'll see in the setup what that looks like. Next is the intersection name. I'm going to do Nanaimo Street and East 49th for our example. You can set this up in the same way that we did with the Jammer board, where the North-South Street is first, East-West Street is second. Next is the legs to count section here. So you'll see that there's four options for the four legs of the turning movement count, and the boxes are checked. That indicates to whoever is doing the processing which legs you are responsible for. So if you're doing all four legs at once, you'll have all four boxes checked. But if you're just responsible for the north leg and the east leg, you can unselect any of these, and you can just select them or reselect them, whichever you like. This won't change the output or what the next screen will look like. Sorry, it won't change what the next screen will look like, but it'll indicate to us, the processors on the output, which legs you were responsible to collect for this individual file. Next, you can just put your collector name. I'll put my name here. The date, I'll just do May 13th. Actually, I'll see what the video is. I'm doing Nanaimo and East 49th. The date here is April 11th at 11 a.m., as you can see in the video here. So I'll switch over to April 11, and you can click, you see it's like a toggle, and then you can highlight the numbers here. I'll do 11 a.m., and let's do it till 1 p.m. So you'll see it says a.m. here, but we'll change it to 1 p.m. The conditions, I think in this video are rainy. Yeah, it looks a little bit rainy, but the weather conditions is just a drop down bar here. You can pick whichever. If it's some crazy weather, you can just put this is anything and put in the notes comments here if there's any sort of particular weather. But lastly is the notes section here. You can put construction or any sort of odd thing you might notice before the count starts. And then once you've done that, you can press create study in the corner here. Great. That will open up this for you here. So this is the count page that we're using. You can, I will go over every part of it here, but you can switch it to dark mode or light mode again. There, I'll just use light mode for this. But you'll notice that this section in the middle here, sort of where I'm highlighting with my cursor, this is meant to represent the Jamar board, but you'll notice the crosswalk buttons are a little bit different. Um, I'll go over it here, but you'll see that there's an annotation for from north, from east, so this is the east leg, south leg from south, from west, west leg, from north, north leg. There's a north arrow here. So this is meant to mimic the output of the, or sorry, the outlay of the intersection you're doing. So you can see the north leg is here for Nanaimo and 49th. North leg is here. It's meant to mimic that of the intersection you're working on. And what I was talking about before with directed crosswalks is you can see CWEB, crosswalk eastbound, crosswalk westbound. So now instead of just pressing one button for the north crosswalk, you'll be able to pick the directions that the users are traveling, which has always been something the requesters wanted, but never a function on our Jammer board. Great. I'll quickly go over what these buttons are. This 0 on the button represents the number. So if you press this, a 1 will appear, meaning you've selected one user in the north crosswalk traveling eastbound. I'll show you when I do the demonstration exactly what that is. But there's an arrow pointing of the direction just to help as a visual aid. And then CWEB, crosswalk eastbound. And then a 0 here, a right turn arrow, and a right turn. So that's meant to indicate right turns, kind of where my cursor is from the north leg, turning right westbound. So from north, right turn, through movement, left, crosswalk westbound, with the users traveling westbound across the same north crosswalk. It's the same for all the other legs here. Next, I will go down to the bottom here. Every count will preload with the standard 6. So vehicles, pedestrians, buses, trucks, bicycles, micromobility. They'll be on the bottom here. It's supposed to mimic that of the class buttons on the Jammer board where the yellow class buttons are on the bottom. So again, they'll be on the bottom of your iPad here. You can select between which ones you want to record. In the turning movement count, we've combined vehicle and pedestrian, same as how we did it before with the Jammer board. In the next video, I'll go over a crosswalk count, sorry, a mid-block cross-section count, and you'll see that this is a little bit different. But yeah, your standard 6 will be preloaded here. You can see there's a little plus symbol here, and that plus symbol is to add classes if you wish to add a class. So say somebody wants pedestrians with mobility aid as a class. You can say pedestrian with mobility aid there, and then you can select an icon. We have some pre-selected icons here. You can notice there's somebody in a wheelchair here, and then you can add to the study, and now all of a sudden you have a 7th class pedestrian with mobility aid, which is pretty neat. I'll show you in a minute, but you can actually change these or change the location of these, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute if you want to, say, put all the pedestrian classes towards the beginning or on the left side. Next, I will scroll up to this bar here where my cursor is. This here will just collapse the bar up top, which you will do once the count begins, but we'll leave this bar set up here because it's part of the setup. So you can select this to minimize that, and it'll help this fit the screen a little bit better. Next is the study time. So this is useful. It shows when the study time is. It'll stay at 11 a.m. because that's when we set it up for, 11 a.m. until it's ready to go. Next, we'll scroll over. This button here is the undo button. So if you make a mistake collecting something and you press undo, it'll undo your last action. And it sort of works the same way as Excel or other Microsoft apps, where it'll undo the last action in succession. So it's good if you press something wrong 3 times in a row, for example, and oh, oops, you can press undo 3 times. and then it'll reset the number there. So it's not very useful for correcting something long in the past that happened maybe an hour ago, but good if you just happen to do make a quick mistake. I'll show you an example of when I start doing the demonstration. Next, if you select this home button here, it will send you back to this home screen here. Typically there's a warning. Uh, I need to get Ali, the app developer, to put that warning back up. It'll warn you, say, do you really want to exit back to the home screen? That'll pop up there. Next is the play button. So if you press play here, that will start your count. So you can see I've pressed play and now it turns into a pause button and the timer on the study time is starting. So now I'm 10 seconds into the study time and you can pause it by selecting that. So now we've just paused it 10 seconds into the count. You can't go back, so it'll be just kind of a one shot thing there. And last is the stop button. So it'll say, do you want to finish the study? And then once you've completed the study, it will wrap everything up and then you can export it later. I'll show you how to do that at the end or maybe in another video. But yeah, that'll prompt you to finish the study once your study time has hit 1 p.m. Next is this last bar here. You'll have the study location here, the name of the location there. It's not necessarily useful, but it's good just as a reference. Next is manage settings. This is a toggle, so you can toggle it on or you can toggle it off. So you can manage the settings here. You can do some pretty neat features when you manage the settings. You can change the colors of these buttons here if that helps for you visually. Say you want the through movements to appear as green. So when you look down, it'll be a little more, it'll pop out a little more. You can tell that's green there. You can change it to any colors at all. If you want left turns to be red, you can make left turns red here. And if you want right turns to be purple, you can make right turns purple. Or if you do that and you realize, actually, I don't like this color scheme, you can click that and reset to default. And it'll just turn it back to whatever it was previously. Also, you can do the same to the buttons here. So you can change the color here. If you want this one to be red, you can finish there. If you want this one to be green, you can change that there. If you want this to be purple, the trucks, you can change that here. And you remember I mentioned before about you can move these class buttons at the bottom. This is the same, or this is how you do it. So you can click into pedestrian mobility aid by clicking there, and you can move to the left, and you can see now it's scrolling over, and you can move it all the way and say you want it, I think that's black or a dark blue maybe, you can change it there. Perfect. So now you see pedestrian with mobility aid has moved over from this section over to this section here. And you can toggle over to the classes here. So that's what manage settings does. Next is video mode, really neat feature. You can increase the speed of the clock to match that of the video. So I'll show you in the example when I do the demonstration, but you can change the video speed from 1 time speed, which is just regular speed. You can do the precision of one decimal place, or you can set it to 2 times. I will leave it as 1 for now. You can rotate, so this rotate key here will rotate this north arrow. So you can see when you rotate the north arrow, so for example, in our demonstration or example here, if the north arrow is actually where my cursor is, you can match it to that of the video, and it'll change the arrow's directions. So you can see the crosswalk arrows are actually incorrect here. I need to get Ali to change that, but again, this is just a working program. So there'll be a lot of updates between now and when we finally decide to roll it out. But yeah, this will now be crosswalk. If this north arrow rotates, this should now say crosswalk northbound, and the arrow will be pointing. Oh, sorry, it'll say crosswalk westbound. That's correct, but the arrow will be pointing up because the arrow here is the north one there. Rotate. So it looks fine when the arrow's in the north or south direction, but well, I'll need to get Ally to fix those. And this will be useful for you in the field depending on where you're standing or whichever view you have on your video. Next is the screen. You can do Mac full screen here, so that'll just make it a little bit cleaner. And you can also do dark mode as well on this feature here. It makes the colors pop a little more. It might be easier, but again, if you'd prefer to use light mode, it makes no difference. It's just an aesthetic thing. Cool. Now I will show you exactly what I mean by doing a tester video. You can pop that there. So you can see the clock here says 11:02 a.m. The north arrow is this way. I will sync the clock on the video to that of the study time before I press play. Perfect. So now the video time and the clock time on the study are the same. This will be a little bit easier than what I'm showing you here, but when you can press play simultaneously on the app, and you can press play on the video as well at the same time. So these clocks will always sync, the 11:10 a.m. here and the 11:10 here. But I'll show you what I mean. So let's do the north leg and the east leg just for this demonstration. So I will press play here and play here, and you can see the clocks are pretty well synced up. So there is a vehicle heading eastbound, and then I'll collect this right turn from this vehicle here. Again, sorry, east leg heading westbound. East leg vehicles heading westbound. There. Quite a bit of rain. We might not see many pedestrians. But you can see that I'm selecting these. And then say you made a mistake, like, oh, I just wanted to collect this right turn vehicle, but oops, I collected them as a through movement. You can press this undo button, and you'll see this one will change back to a 0. So it's a pretty neat feature, the undo button, and it'll just undo the last counts, so you can see these through movements I just selected before. I will demonstrate now the video mode. So we're watching this, and you can say, hey, I can actually watch this a little quicker. Even though the count is still required real-time precision, you can actually speed up now the video. So let's try and sync these clocks again. Sorry, I will let this run until it says 11:01:05. So you want to watch this video in 2 times speed, you can change the speed to 2 times in the video, and then you can do the video mode and change it to 2 times here. So now this clock in the study time will match this 2 times speed of this video here. When you press play here, it'll prompt you to say, do you want to watch the video in 2 times speed? It's just a prompt to make sure that you know that the video on the study time is actually going to be sped up. And you can say yes by start sync, and you can press play here. So now the video is going 2 times speed. Oh, there's a cyclist here, so you can go down to bicycle and collect that there, and then go back to vehicles. So you'll press these the same way that you did on the Jammer board, but once you select it once, it'll be stuck on that until you go back to vehicles and pedestrians. You'll notice that the clock here is going twice as fast, and the clock here is going twice as fast. There's a tiny bit of a lag because I didn't press play at the same time on the video and on the app, but it's pretty close. So yeah, you can select, you see there's 2 right turners there. You can collect left turn, through. You can't hear it on the video, but there is a audible popping noise that is happening. So I know we're not responsible for this leg in this demonstration, but I'll show you crosswalk northbound. Because that pedestrian was walking northbound in the west crosswalk, we'd select that button here. Sorry, as I was saying, there is a audible popping sound when you select any of these here as sort of an audio cue that you have selected. Perfect. So you can pause the count. You can see that the clock's here. I let this one run a little bit longer, but they're pretty close to being synced up. Say you're finished your count, you can select this red button here, and you can change and add colors throughout the video. Like it's not like a one-time thing before you start. You can manage the settings. And then once you're done, you can say finish study, press OK, and you go back to the home screen. Hmm. Okay, well the finish study isn't working, but I will get that fixed hopefully soon. Maybe because the study time hasn't run the fully through. But once it's completed, it'll say complete there, and then you will be able to export it. And I will show you. You can do that by sharing with teammate, and then share it with my email address here. It's using my. Actually, let's use my city email here, and then you can add me. It's saying error because I'm on this account, but then I will be able to see your accounts in my sort of registry here, which I'll go over more later. But yeah, that's a quick example of just how to do turning movement count. So give it a try, give us feedback. Thank you.